Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Hey now, ladies and gentlemen, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, and hey now, We have a brand new president of the United States, everybody. A round of applause. Let's go, baby. All right. And just like that, Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States. Everything we have worked for the past 4 years, everything we have been through over the past 4 years came down to a mere 60 seconds of Donald Trump standing on stage with Justice Roberts taking that oath of office for the second time and taking over the Oval Office. Welcome to the show. We're live in the Over the Line studios today, where you can watch live via YouTube, via Facebook, via Twitter, whether it's my personal or on the 99.5 social media. Check that out. Tony Gump in the house. What's up?
How you guys doing? Hello.
Tony Gump. We got Steve West over at, what do we call that, Command Central?
Okay, sounds good.
I like the sound of that. And because this was such a historic moment, I brought in my Young P. We don't call him P. Diddy anymore. We just call him Young P. Or as our friend calls him, P-Roll. So what's up, man? Glad you could be here. This is a big moment. You know, even at 14 years old, this is history. Like, this is something you're going to remember going forward. You're going to be telling your kids about it. Mm-hmm. So, and you even got your black MAGA hat on. I like that. Looking good, looking fly. So we got so much to get to. And we're just going to kind of hop in and out on this inauguration live feed, because ABC News is our affiliate. We're going with them, and if they pipe in, they're probably got they're not happy. We'll just say that they're not in a good mood today. But right now they've got the band playing. They've got let's Tony, if we could, let's go to this live real quick and just get a taste of what's going on right now at the Rotunda. It's so funny as you watch Donald Trump. He's just ready to get back to work.
Oh, yeah.
You can just see the look on his face.
He's like, ready to sign some paperwork.
Let's sign some papers, baby. Also a rare moment that they're doing this inside, as most people know. I think, what was it, Ronald Reagan was the last one?
Yeah, I believe it was Reagan in 84.
And it was all because the weather's so cold, they don't want anybody to get hurt. But it's probably, at the end of the day, with the threats against Donald Trump, it's probably safer.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy this is happening this way.
Man, it's almost a relief.
It is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you the 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Trump walking up to the podium. Podium with the presidential seal, by the way. What a day, man. What a day this is.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense, they're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. America will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. Let me use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal, and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our Treasury. coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before. To restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government, my administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay. And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies. Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families. Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation, and right now our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We are going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
There you have it.
So there is the speech from Donald Trump, his first speech after being sworn in as President of the United States. What a day. What a speech. The one thing I noticed, and for those of you that are watching us online, you saw this as well, was the people that were in the crowd and their reactions. First thing I thought, and I looked over at you, Tony, and laughed, was whenever he mentioned about planting the American flag on Mars. The camera cuts to Elon, and Elon's like, yeah!
He's excited.
The thumbs up. You saw Tucker Carlson in the crowd. You saw, I mean, I didn't write down any names, but there were so many different people, so many notable people there in the crowd. He mentions that everybody in the military, they got booted over the vax, will be reinstated with full back pay, that America will now only recognize 2 genders. There was just so much in there.
The Gulf of America.
We're changing. We're actually going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all thought that was a joke. That is not a joke. We are actually going to do that. And I could not be more excited. I have to give this guy credit. I have to give Joe Biden credit. And you see him right there. He did not fall asleep during that entire speech. I just knew it was going to happen at any moment. I said, he's going to go. At some point, he's going to go. And he never did. He even was nodding his head in agreement about some things when Donald Trump mentioned not going to any new wars. Joe Biden's like, yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
I just even know where he's at. This is crazy. Now Carrie Underwood has the microphone. I believe she's about to sing. We all knew she was going to be singing at the inauguration. If that starts up, let's go back again. This is our affiliate ABC. Let's go back to this live and see where this goes real quick.
Obviously, this is inside because of the weather today, but it does take on a distinctly different flavor instead of being on the west front of the Capitol and the platform where everybody is sort of spread out.
Also,
it was quite something
what
to
you're
watch.
hearing there is the voice of
President-elect,
David Meir,
now the president, as 47th
which is the
president
hack
of the
that
United States,
hosted
delivered
that
his
debate
inaugural address.
and rigged it
The
for
outgoing
Kamala
president
Harris.
and vice president sitting right there beside him in just about every shot on all of the major points. When he talked about
words, help me out here. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Good job, Carrie Underwood. Now, unfortunately, you can see in that shot, Bill Clinton is staring at Carrie Underwood's backside the entire song.
the outgoing vice
And I'm not even
president
joking about that. He was looking at her butt the whole
Be
time.
shocked by that.
47th president. Donald
Oh,
Trump's hands there,
man.
and
What a
Vice President
day. What a
J.D.
day. Okay, so there's Carrie Underwood. We'll just kind of keep our eye on what transpires from here. We do, however, need to take a break because we're trying to finagle this in a way where we can make sure we fit everything in. There's going to be more going on. So, Steve, if we could take a quick break, we'll come back on the other side with more of this special inaugural edition of The Line on Talk 99.5. Hang tight.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io.
Here we go, the line, Talk995, Talk995.com, and what a day. Can I go ahead and note this? I haven't had the opportunity to say this yet, but for those of you watching live, you see this shirt right here? This shirt came from my buddy Chris at Noto Roofing. I want to give Noto Roofing a shout out. He had bought this for me a couple weeks ago, and he's like, man, I got to get it to you somehow, so I went and met him yesterday because I'm like, well, I got to have it for tomorrow. And for those of you on the radio, it's a hoodie. I rarely wear hoodies, but it's a hoodie. It says Inauguration Day with an American flag, and in the middle of the star section of the American flag, it's 47th is what it says. Under it, it says, what does that say? President of the United States with Donald Trump's signature and the date of January 20th, 2025 at the bottom. Just a good-looking hoodie.
That's fancy right there.
Yeah, baby, that's fancy. So with that said, it's a good opportunity for me to tell you to go check out Noto Roofing. Free roof inspection, man. Do it for the sake of a new day. It's a new day. You got a new president. You got a new outlook on life. You got a new outlook for the country. Do something good for yourself. Get a free roof inspection. Make sure that roof's on the up and up. All you got to do is call them 205-848-2299. Let them know we sent you. And that way they're going to know you're part of the family and they're going to take care of you. 848-2299. Online, all that info, notoroofing.com. N-O-T-O roofing.com. They are in the rotunda doing the, what is this, the benediction prayer. Let's go back to that real quick live.
Tops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous hilltops of California. But God, we're asking you not only that. Let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi, from every state, every city, every village, and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last. Free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
Wow, I need that kind of energy right there. That was good.
Almighty and eternal God, we gather here today in reverence, joined in our shared hopes and dreams for our beloved nation. In this sacred moment of the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, we turn our hearts to you, seeking your divine assistance and abundant blessings upon this pivotal moment in history. We come before you with profound gratitude for the many gifts you have bestowed upon our land. Thank you for the freedoms we cherish, for the strength of our communities, and for the resilience of our spirit. As our President and Vice President embrace their newly appointed roles, we humbly implore that your everlasting love and wisdom will envelop them. Grant them the clarity of mind to navigate the challenges that lie ahead, and the compassion to serve all citizens with fairness and integrity. May their hearts be filled with a giving spirit and sincere understanding for those whom they represent. May they be beacons of hope in times of uncertainty and prophetic voices in defending the dignity of all created life. We pray for a spirit of collaboration to flourish in our government and across our nation, fostering an environment where dialogue and heartfelt listening will prevail over division or discord. May each decision made by our President and Vice President reflect the values of justice and peace. As we embark on this new chapter, we also seek your comfort, O God, for those who feel lost or disheartened. In this time of transition, may your light shine upon them, reaffirming their belief in a brighter tomorrow. May we all strive to lift one another, supporting our fellow citizens with kindness and empathy, recognizing that together we can overcome any adversity. Grant us the strength to endure, the courage to face our fears, and the clarity to see the light that remains, even when clouds of uncertainty may gather. Inspire our new leaders to be champions for the vulnerable and advocates for those whose voices are often silenced. May they pursue policies that promote the well-being of all, seeking to build bridges that will foster unity and belonging. As we stand witness to this inauguration, we hold fast to our faith in the goodness of each of us and the possibility of change. We trust that with your guidance, O God, our nation can move forward to a future filled with promise, prosperity, and understanding. And finally, we lift our hearts in gratitude for the beloved parents of President Trump. Without Mary and Fred Trump, this day would never be the miracle that has just begun. From their place in heaven, may they shield their son from all harm by their loving protection, and give him the strength to guide our nation along the path that will make America great again. Let us go forth now with these words of President Trump's emblazoned on our hearts. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail. We stand tall, we stand proud, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God, and to God alone. Amen.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem.
Can you say, o'er the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright bright stars through the perilous fight on the ramparts we
All right, man. Look at that. What a sight, man. What a sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
So we'll continue to watch
Christopher Bach.
to see what direction this goes in. Just for the sake of catching up to make sure I don't get too far behind on you guys, I want to remind you about Axiom Tax Resolution Group, which is bringing you this part of the show. My buddy Perry over at Axiom Tax Resolution Group, it's tax season. You all know it's tax season. And some of y'all are behind, and that's okay. I know it's stressful. I know you're like, the IRS is coming after me. They're going to take my house. They're going to take my this. Don't worry about all that. All I want you to do is call Perry. Let him know that Andrew McLean sent you. Let him know you heard about him on the line and that you heard that he can get you fixed up. I mean, you can pay a fraction of what you think you owe the IRS if you call Perry. That's possible. All you have to do is reach out to him. And what he's going to do, he's actually going to kind of shield you from the IRS, because at that point, once you reach out to Perry, Perry is representing you to the IRS. You don't have to talk to him anymore. Perry's going to be the one talking to you. You talk to Perry. It makes the process so much easier. So if you're behind a year, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, I don't care what your situation is, call Perry Cronin. He's going to get you hooked up. Here's his phone number, 205-872-1100. That's 205-872-1100, Axiom Tax Resolution Group. Again, make sure you let them know that I sent you. That seems to be it for the inauguration ceremony, at least this portion of it. You see Joe Biden and Joe Biden walking out there. There's Kamala Harris and Jack Emhoff's brother, Doug. Sorry, I just had to do that.
Yeah.
Who else do we got? There's Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer. I noticed Bernie Sanders was in the front row. Do you see him up there in the left? He sat the whole time. He never stood up and clapped. There's Hillary, George Bush, George W. Bush, and his wife.
Yeah, I did notice Bill Clinton checking out Carrie Underwood.
Oh, he was totally staring at her the whole time. Yeah. And all she did was that short. What did she sing? I already forgot. Was it God Bless America?
Yeah, God Bless America. And Bill Clinton also was looking at Trump's daughter on the first time he was.
What a creep.
Yeah.
Like, can you not just like for once not be a creep? Because you remember in 2016, I don't remember who it was Bill Clinton was looking at, but he was looking over the side and Hillary was beside him, staring at him as he was looking.
I thought it was Ivanka.
I think it was. Yeah. What a creep. All right, let me hit this break. Hour number 2 of this big inauguration special of the line coming up right after this. Hang tight.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. Hour number 2 of the Line Talk 99.5 Inauguration Day, baby. Donald Trump is officially your presidente. That's right. He is officially the 47th president of the United States as we watch live here on, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Twitter, we're live on Facebook, on my socials, on 99.5 socials. We are, I assume, waiting for, we're waiting right now for Joe Biden, who is officially, by the way, a former president. Yeah, that sounds so good. To depart the U.S. Capitol for Joint Base Andrews. He will be taking Marine One, which is their helicopter, over to Joint Base Andrews, and I assume he does what? Flies back to Delaware?
I would assume, yeah.
He flies back to Visiting Angels, America's home care. However that goes.
So glad he's gone.
He's going to the nursing home, baby. There's a lot to talk about that we haven't had a chance to do it because we wanted to make sure we bring you this stuff. AJ in studio as well. AJ, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm too blessed to be depressed, brother. I'm good.
Are we? What are we looking like on the front of tomorrow? Is the weather going to be okay? Are we going to get screwed up? You ain't spending the night tonight, are you?
Not tonight. I think it's more of an evening situation. But I really just got in, so I didn't really get a chance to see what the weather's going to be looking like. Or really kind of paid attention and been kind of like out of it all this morning. So now just getting my bearings. So I think it's more of an evening going into Wednesday situation.
Yeah.
And it could be a little bit more south of us, but yeah, we'll definitely keep everyone abreast of what's going on.
Well, you think
with this weather.
As the host of the show, I would know this, but I've been obviously a little preoccupied.
But you've been occupied.
You're right.
Do you have your PJs on?
I have, in a rare instance, I have a hoodie on, and it is an Inauguration Day hoodie. It looks really good. If everybody looks on YouTube, you can see it. It's very, very fly. I got it from Chris at Noto Roofing, gave it to me. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind over the past, 24, 48 hours. I think on the weather front, for those of us, and obviously if you're watching us online, you may be from anywhere in the world, but for those of us in Alabama, from what I can tell, I think the nasty stuff is going to be south of us in Birmingham. So, I don't know how far south. I've seen Clanton, which is still within our listening area, that you guys may be getting some snowed and some hazardous. I mean, we could up here. We could still get maybe somewhere between, an inch or less, and that's enough to cause hazardous driving conditions. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Looking at Donald Trump, speaking with Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff, Joe Biden and Joe Biden there, as again, Joe Biden is going to be, I guess all four of those are going to be departing to Joint Base Andrews. They have just moments ago, think about this. They have lost the privileges of one living in the White House or living in the Naval Observatory where the vice president stays. They have lost access to Air Force One, Air Force Two, and they have lost access to ruining our lives on a daily basis and ruining this great country. And I cannot, it's hard to put into words, which is a problem for myself because, my livelihood is based on me putting things into words. But after 4 years of what we've been through, it's just like, I feel like we work so hard, and maybe it is, we just played a very small part in this whole thing. But you still feel like you put a lot of effort, a lot of energy into, including you, Tony Gump, into making sure this January 20th plays out the way it is playing out right now.
It was all worth it. I'm just glad there's going to be no more pardons. I'm a little upset about the Fauci pardon personally. But
it's ruined Tony Gump's day.
When he pardoned him this morning, it just made me so sick. I was wanting to get him so bad.
Like, it would have been better if he would have done that yesterday, and then we could have just been mad about it, and then gotten in, and we could just put it off for a day and, enjoy the moment. But he's like, no, let me see if I can ruin their day.
Well, I'm just glad there's no more. So there's still some names out there I don't want to mention that I'm hoping they do something about,
Well, I guess he did. He did pardon Fauci yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before?
It was early this morning. I got the news thing early a.m. today.
Oh, it was today. It was today. Yeah, he could have done that a couple days ago and give us time to digest it. But anyway, here we go. So Donald Trump, Melania, Joe Biden, they are, I don't know if this is Donald Trump and Melania escorting the Bidens to Marine One to bid them farewell one last time. But what a sight, man. What a sight. You think about everything again, I'm going to be repeating myself through this. You think about everything we've been through, I think about me personally when 2020's election happened. I will never forget where I was at during that entire process. I was not in radio. I had been let go from a previous station because they changed formats, and I was in the garage working on my car as all of that played out in November of 2020. Obviously, we had the haircut thing, Now, by the way, now I can officially get my hair cut, in case anybody's wondering. I don't know when, how, or even if that's going to happen, because day to day I change my mind. But nonetheless, I'm working on my car. All of this stuff's going down, and I can't believe my eyes. And as it plays out, I continue to do what is really the Over the Line podcast, which was a thing back then. It was born in 2018, and it was at that point it was a one-man show, and I made it my goal to prove what had happened in that 2020 election. Now, it cost me a lot of social media accounts. It cost me a lot of different things because there was a lot of censorship and all that at that time, which would have, crushed any other candidate that needed that free speech. But somehow we continued to push and continued to push. We came out on the other side. Donald Trump came out on the other side. After COVID, after January 6th, after the censorship, after the assassination, multiple assassination attempts, he comes out on the other side of that stuff, and we are here on January 20th, 2025, looking at Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, President of the United States. It's surreal. It's wild. I don't know, man. Just keep that man safe. That's all I'm asking. Keep that man safe. Now, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm going to do that when we get back on the other side. I've got some things that I want you to see and I want you to hear that have happened over the past 24 hours or so. So we'll get to that. First, let me tell you about TCW Construction. That is TCW Construction. My buddy Trent out there doing work. Tony Gump actually met up with Trent. He came over to his house, and he's going to be doing some work for you. Is that right?
Yeah, a couple days ago, and the son-in-law's house, too, on his driveway.
Nice. See, TCW, man, they're doing, even in this cold weather, they're out there working. So y'all hit him up. If you got any outdoor construction needs, Trent is your guy. All you got to do is call him. He'll come out to you absolutely free. It don't cost you anything. He'll come out and give you a free estimate. You want some advice from him, whatever it is, he's got you covered. You're going to be talking directly to him. You're going to be dealing directly with him, and he's a good dude. 205-389-3536 is his number. That's 205-389-3536, TCW on Facebook. All right, let's hit this break. Coming back on the other side with more of The Line. Hang tight.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Here we go, the Line Talk 99.5, talk99.5.com. Man, I'm in a good mood today. I'm just in a good mood.
It's a good day to be in a good mood.
I'm in a good mood. I feel like I need to go do something after the show. I need to go party hard. Yeah, party hard, baby. So watching all this play out, by the way, has been fascinating. I want to get to a little bit of that. First, Coverall RV Services. Coverall RV Services. That's my boy Dylan, who I've known for a very long time. And he does everything RV stuff. Even so, we had David Lynham on the podcast, and we had him on the radio show Friday. Which, by the way, Leland texted me Friday afternoon. He's like, "Who was that you had on your show? That dude's funny." I was like, "Yeah, he's funny, dude." And he asked me. He didn't know anything about it, and he just heard me talking about it on the show. I was telling everybody about Coverall RV, and he's like, "You think that dude can do X, Y, and Z?" And I'm like, "Of course he can. If it's on an RV, if it's on a pop-up camper, whatever you got going on, Dylan's got you covered." So I think Dylan and Lynham are getting hooked up to get one of his solutions or one of his issues fixed up. That is usually what I will hear from people. It will be something along the lines of, "Do you think he can do this? Do you think he can do that?" Don't even ask those questions. Just call him up. If you'll just call him, you'll know the answer. And the chances are the answer is yes, but reach out to him with any of your needs. He's on Facebook. You can look him up, Coverall RV Services, easy to find. Or you can call him 205-224-2268. That's 205-224-2268, Coverall RV Services. He's a good dude. He's been doing that for a very long time, and he will take care of you, especially if you tell him that I sent you. So make sure you do that. If you want to get in on the show, you got opinions, thoughts, comments, you just want to celebrate with us, 205-545-9950 is the phone number. 205-545-9950. We'll open up those phone lines. One of the things that, I almost started welling up a little bit, and I don't even know why, was this morning when Donald Trump first showed up to the Capitol, the White House. And this is all customary stuff that they go through. They've been doing a lot of normal, inauguration things today. He shows up at the White House, and there stands Joe Biden and Jill Biden. They are there to welcome him in and do the whole, they obviously don't have to give him a tour. He knows the place, yada, yada, but it's the thing they do. And I want you to listen. Y'all may not be able to hear what he says, but listen closely, see if you can hear it, and I'll tell you what he says on the other side once Donald Trump comes out and Joe Biden sees him. Did you hear that? Well, Joe Biden says, "Welcome home." And I'm like, yes, welcome home, Donald Trump. Welcome back to the White House. An amazing interaction. I don't know why. That just got to me. And I was like, welcome home is exactly right, because this is where Donald Trump belongs. Welcome home, Donald Trump. Welcome home, Melania Trump. Let's go, baby. It's time to get to work. And that was one of the things I thought watching his face the entire time during that inauguration was he's ready to get this over with and get to work. Obviously we got to do it and all that. This dude's ready to get to work. Now, Joe Biden and Jill Biden this morning sent out a tweet. They said simply, "One more selfie for the road. We love you, America." Who knew Joe Biden knew how to take selfies? I had no idea that was possible. It looks like he's the one holding the camera.
He was.
I had this conversation. I had my kid at the doctor several days ago, and I had this conversation with the receptionist at the doctor's office, and it always goes to politics with me for wherever I go, because my debit card is a picture of Donald Trump pumping his fist with blood running down his face. But she's like, sometimes I feel bad for Joe Biden because he's old. He's obviously a victim of elder abuse, and they're forcing him to do all this stuff, yada, 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 which I understand. And I have those same feelings sometimes. I may have even had some of those feelings this morning watching him, go through the motions. But I encourage you to remind yourself that Joe Biden is an awful human being and that he's done a lot of awful things. Like, yes, he's old. Yes, he's being abused by the people around him. But that is likely more of a result of karma, or something like that. Rather than like, oh, here's this poor innocent victim that's being forced to do stuff that he don't want to do and he doesn't know where he's at, whatever. Anyway, if you want to feel bad for him, you can. I don't care. There's a lot of people that are going to be having a bad day today. I've really, over the past several weeks leading up to this inauguration, I've brought to you different just random liberals on TikTok and Twitter and social media in general that have really turned into their own QAnon. We call them Blue Anon, actually. Yeah. So they've turned into Blue Anon, and they've got all these conspiracy theories. And the biggest one continued to be that on January 20th, Donald Trump was not going to be inaugurated, that they were not going to allow him, call it the 14th Amendment, call it the CIA and everybody else. Somebody is going to stop Donald Trump from taking that oath of office. These people were absolutely convinced of it. And as you know, it happened. Donald Trump is now the 47th president of the United States, and I don't know how these people are dealing with it. I want you to listen to this conspiracy theory from, again, he's just some random liberal influencer on TikTok, but he said the same thing just over the weekend. He said Donald Trump is not going to be inaugurated president of the United States.
He said they rigged the election on stage, on TV. Him and Elon. Yeah, I think that things are all going as planned, and that, this, it needs to play out at this pace, in this way. But it's, that's a smoking gun for the people who still were like, oh no, a free and fair election, he won it. Look at what he is telling you. I don't know how more clear it needs to be. The Intelligence Committee is also still meeting at midnight tonight, in a few hours tonight, which I don't know if it's normal for an intelligence meeting to happen at midnight the night before an inauguration, but that's weird to me. Midnight, really? y'all couldn't do it the day before, the morning up or something, but honestly that feels like nitpicking at this point. He fuck the oligarchy.
Oh, we gotta dump that. We gotta dump that, AJ.
For my New Yorkers.
All right, go ahead and pause this. My bad, AJ. I hope you got that. So this guy's probably having a bad day because he ends up thinking that, yes, Queen, we're going to stop Donald Trump from becoming president of the United States. It's like these people, they just don't quit. They don't quit. Now, here's what, and we'll be dealing with this tomorrow. We're obviously not going to deal with it today. We want to celebrate our victory and Donald Trump becoming president and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to spend countless hours checking on these people and checking on their mental health because they're not coping well. Everybody remembers the images from 2016 and the people on their knees in the streets of Washington, D.C. screaming at the top of their lungs. The one guy with the beanie, or was that a girl? I can't even remember.
That was a girl or a they or something.
It was a they, them. And this person became the meme of a century. Yeah. This person has been on so many different memes that they really should maybe go to court and look for some sort of compensation because they really got put through the ringer of the past 8 years as far as meme world goes. I got a feeling there's a lot of those. There have been protests in Washington, D.C. over the past 24, 48 hours. I have really seen little coverage of that. I have seen almost no coverage of that. And I think a big part of that is because people are absolutely fed up with dealing with these people. I think the large portion of Americans are over it, and they view these people as spoiled brats. Yes, a majority of American voters voted for Donald Trump, But Kamala Harris allegedly still got like 76 million votes or something stupid, or 74, 75, which, we can debate that. But still, millions and millions of people voted for Kamala Harris, even assuming how bad she is. Even those people got to be fed up with these, Antifa types and protesters and everything else, because they're looking at them. Even if you're on their side, you're looking at them and you're saying, hey, dude, whatever you've been doing as of late is obviously not working, okay? Because Donald Trump just got inaugurated president of the United States. Like, this is a problem. We gotta do something different. But, it's not their day. It's our day. And we're going to continue to celebrate. Again, I go back to the fact that it's like this has just felt like, I know it's been 4 years, but it feels like it's been 20 years. I mean, it really has.
Yeah, it has.
And there's so much damage to undo. Are we going to be able to pull that off? I have no idea. I think we'll fix a lot of things. Hopefully we'll fix the vast majority of things. But at the end of the day, we did what we had to do. We made sure this man got in office. And again, we don't deserve all the credit. God deserves a lot of the credit. God deserves really all the credit, because Donald Trump would be dead today if it wasn't for him. And as I think I stated this earlier, I think it was probably a God move in order to for them to move the inauguration indoors instead of being out there in the open air where dangers could present itself no matter how much security you put in place. I mean, there's so many structures everywhere, and you could end up, with another Butler, Pennsylvania pretty easily. So.
Yeah, and the drones scare me personally, all that drone activity.
How long do you think it is before we find out what those drones were in New Jersey?
Less than 72 hours, more like 48.
Like maybe next couple hours?
Yeah, we might find out tonight.
Donald Trump should have just told us in his speech after he was sworn in.
Yeah.
He was like, here, I want to go ahead and tell you guys. So, start off with the drones. We'll go JFK next.
Yeah, CIA.
CIA. Let's go. Let's go Federal Reserve after that.
Oh, gosh.
Go through the whole list. Tony's head would explode.
Oh.
All right. Let me hit this break. I'll attempt to not play any more F words. And we'll keep going along. Got a lot to get to. We'll keep recapping what's happened over the past 24 hours when we get back. 205-545-9950.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Here we go, baby. Back with you. A shout out, by the way, to everyone who is watching us on YouTube, watching us on Twitter. We got a lot of y'all watching us on Twitter. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody on Facebook. We normally don't put it on Facebook because the way their algorithm works is so garbage. You get like 5 or 6 people watching, and then for people that do come across it, they're like, oh my god, this show must suck. There's only 5 or 6 people watching. So we put it on there anyway, just because it's today, it's Inauguration Day and everything. But people on Facebook, they're in the business of scrolling. Like they're not going to stop in a video and continue to watch. Donald Trump, by the way, speaking yet again. He's a speaking kind of guy. This is at Capitol Hill right now.
No, he's right. I looked. I said, "Oh, look at this beautiful sunny day." We blew it. We blew it. And then I went outside and we were freezing. You would have been very unhappy. The sun was very deceptive, I will tell you. It is cold out. And I'm sort of saying, that was so beautiful today. Maybe they should do it there every 4 years. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because, the outdoor thing is really good, but it gets a little cold around this time of the year, as some people have noticed. And a lot of times they suffer through it. There was no suffering in that room. It was 72 degrees. It was perfect with the best acoustics I think I've ever heard in a room. This is not so bad either. But I just want to say, you're a younger, far more beautiful audience that I just spoke to. And I want to keep it off the record. I want to keep that off the record because I don't want to have all those big shots up there. I don't want to think you're more powerful than them, you look better than them, and I love you. Now, we just had a great time. We just had a great day. This was amazing. When you think we took a journey, I mentioned in the speech, a lot of people said that was not a journey that was possible, and it was indeed possible. I didn't really know too much about what they were saying when they said that, but a lot of people felt it. And we hooked up with J.D. very early. I watched J.D. over a period of time. I endorsed him in Ohio. He was a great senator and very, very smart. The only one smarter than him was his wife. That was, I would have chosen her, but somehow the line of succession didn't work that way, right? But now she's great and he's great. This is a great, beautiful couple and unbelievable career. I just said to him, you are very upwardly mobile, because he hasn't been doing it that long, but he picked it up so quickly. Remember, the first week was a little bit like the fake news was hitting him really hard. And I said, ooh, this may be tough, but after that, it was smooth sailing for him. He took on everybody. He took on the meanest. I don't want to use the word corrupt because we're into a new system, so let's wait till the corruption begins, because it will. But he took on some pretty mean people, and he handled it well. I want to also congratulate Mike Johnson for the job that he's doing. Steve, we gave him a majority of almost nothing, and then I said to make it tougher on him, let me take 2 or 3 of the people, right? I said he'll only have to suffer with that for about 3 months. How are they doing, by the way? Are they? Is that moving along?
Totally uniform.
I said, do you mind if I take this one, that one, and a couple of others? He didn't mind. He can handle it. No, he's a man that's liked by everybody. I've never met a man like this. You've got how many is it, 219 or 220 or something? 220. And of the 220, 219 really like him. I noticed he got 1 negative vote once about 2 weeks ago. But I think even 220 like him, if you want to know the truth. And that's very unusual. I know a lot of nice guys in Congress, and they have 35 people that hate him. So if you have 35 people that hate you and you only have 1 or 2 or 3 votes, you'll have 5, I think. But that's going to be like, the good news is when we get to that 5 number, it's going to feel like a massive majority. You can be really nasty to a couple of them at least. So it's going to feel like hitting your head on the wall and stopping. It feels so good to stop. But he's done a fantastic job. And Steve Scalise is, he's our hero because, I was with him. You talk about being shot. I was with him. He got some bad ones, and his incredible wife, and she really loves him. You never know about that. I've been with other people They were doing poorly, and the wife is like looking at her watch. She can't get out of the hospital fast enough. How's he doing? Oh, I don't know. He's all right. That woman was a mess. She was crying and crying. No, they're going to take him. They're going to take him. I told Steve when he finally woke up, it was a while, too. The doctor told me it was the most blood they've ever transfused in any patient. They've never done anything like it. And here he is, the picture of strength, right? And he's been a great friend of mine, right? With a family, because of a family. And what a job you did. It worked out pretty much better than we even thought, right? And I did have a couple of things, to say that were extremely controversial. And between J.D. and Melania and anybody else that heard, please, sir, it's such a beautiful, unifying speech. Please, sir, don't say these things. I said, I'm telling you, it's going to play great. They say, you're right. For this group of people, it's going to play great. You're the only ones I hurt by not, but we had some beauties, didn't we, Melania? She said, sir, calls me sir when she's angry. No, I'm only kidding. I better say I'm only kidding, or the press is going to pick that one up loud and clear. No, but she said, no, I think it would be terrible. It's such a nice speech. I think it's, it all depends on your delivery. How was the delivery? Was it good? But she said it's such a beautiful speech. You can't put things in there that you were going to put in. And I was going to talk about the J6 hostages, but you'll be happy because, it's action, not words that count. And you're going to see a lot of action on the J6 hostages. See a lot of action. And I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, where they literally, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and they would have stopped. Because we may have had 1 million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put them in. They show the people at the Capitol. But I was talking about that. I was going to talk about that. They said, please don't bring that up right now. You can bring it up tomorrow. I said, how about now in front of the I'll bring it up right now. This little time delay is good because we're getting great reviews on the speech. Now watch. They'll take the speech and say, I didn't like it because he left there and he's talked to people. But we're giving you a little more information than we gave upstairs. But no, they pardoned a lot of people. They pardoned, before we even get to today, they pardoned, 33 murderers, absolute murderers, the worst murderers. When you get the death sentence in the United States, you have to be bad because they don't give it much. And he pardoned almost everybody having a death sentence. And if you went through the crimes that were committed, you wouldn't even believe them, the level of violence, the people that were killed, the innocence of people that were killed and children killed by these people. And he pardoned them for whatever reason. He spared them, but they didn't spare the people that they killed. And, who knows what happens in the future. It's one of the worst because a lot of times they let them out early after that. They say you're going to be in for life, but then all of a sudden they get let out for good behavior, and then they go on a rampage. It's one of those little things, right? But I was going to talk about that. But I was really going to talk about the level of, what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to help a guy like Milley? Why are we doing Milley? He was pardoned. What he said, terrible what he said. Why are we helping some of the people? Why are we helping Liz Cheney? Liz Cheney is a disaster. She's a crying lunatic and crying Adam Kinzinger. He's a super crying. I never saw the guy not crying. He's always crying. I looked at him. I remember years ago he was actually on my side. And then one day, you know, when you don't want to kill people in wars, they turn against you. Liz Cheney hated the concept of not going to war with everybody. Let's kill everybody. Let's spend a lot of money on military equipment, you know, where her father works, right? And, but what she did was incredible. Think of it. They destroyed and deleted all of that information that went on for almost 2 years against Trump. And the reason they did, because it was all false. Like the person that said, I tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That's one of the toughest human beings I think I've ever seen. I actually had a friend saying, please don't change that, sir. You are the coolest sucker in history. Remember, she said, I put my hands around his neck because he wouldn't go to the Capitol. Made up fiction. And I was rebuffed. And the guy on the right is a massive weightlifter, probably stronger than me. Do you think he's stronger than me, honey? You know who I'm talking about. Possibly stronger than me. Slightly younger than me, like, I won't say how many years because I don't want to talk about that, but a lot of years. But I had a friend that said, why are you disputing that story? That's the coolest story I've ever heard. That I would attack a karate champion, get slightly rebuffed, and then throw my arms around a guy with a neck about this big. Even though there are bars, you know, there are bars, you can't really do that anyway. So I wanted to talk about that. But all of that stuff got deleted. And the reason it got deleted is they were all caught in lies. You know, Secret Service testified, and they said it didn't happen. Actually, the two guys were very embarrassed. They're suffering because their friends are saying, did Trump really do that to you? But they gained a whole new respect for me. But it was just make-believe stuff, and there were a lot of make-believe stories made up. So rather than suffer the wrath, like the story with Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape that her daughter made. She's a videographer or whatever you call her, which I'm glad she is. Oh, she can't be in good stead with Nancy. But Nancy said it was my responsibility as she's leaving the Capitol. She said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol. But I offered them up to 10,000 soldiers, even more. One time I said more, as many as you need. But you needed 400 or 500. If 4 or 5, you 10,000, that would be more than the number of people there by lot. But we offered her 10,000. Think of it, 10,000 soldiers. In other words, J6 wouldn't be J6. There would have been no J6. But she rebuffed them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen. But she's guilty as hell. And now we would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything. There's virtually nothing left. The other fake story and so many other fake stories. And many people came out on our side. And those people now would got to find them. There's nothing left. So that's a criminal offense. If that were a civil case, it would be a criminal offense. If that happened civilly where you did that, it would be a criminal offense. So I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it a unifying speech. And then when they said we have a group of people that are serious Trump fans, I said, this is the time to tell those stories. He knows. So anyway, but seriously, I'd like to, I think it was a tremendous success. I think we're very lucky we put it inside because it is really cold. We just went to the helicopter out of respect. It's something that's taken place for a long time. I guess it's as old as helicopters. You used to get into a stagecoach, now you get into a helicopter. Times change. But it's pretty old custom. And it's a beautiful custom, actually. It's a beautiful custom. I wish we could have had a better relationship. I wish we could have had a better relationship between Republicans and Democrats. I was with Senator Schumer. I said, Chuck, I think it's time we all start getting along a little bit because it doesn't make sense. I mean, we literally never get a Democrat vote. They never get a Republican vote, almost. And although there is a bill coming up very shortly that we have a lot of Democrat votes, right? That's going to be a very beautiful bill. We're going to have a deciding, I would say, within a week or so, I think. And it's going to be a very good bill. You all know what I'm talking about. So I just want to thank you all for being here. You have been our fans from day one. All these people all over. You've been our fans. This has been there's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it. This has been a movement like no movement ever in history for probably any country, let alone this country. You know, if somebody's running for president, and if they go out and they announce they're going to Arizona, they're going to Nevada, they're going to someplace, if you have 200 or 300 people, that would be standard. Ronald Reagan would go out. I mean, outside of the last couple of days where people get a little excited, but even then you have a couple of thousand people. But
all right, so I'm going to bring it back here real quick. So there's Donald Trump speaking at Emancipation Hall, and I'm not exactly sure who the group of people are there. There's several young people. I don't know if this is some people from his staff or from the campaign or whatever. But it's funny because, and E texted me about this. He said something about how Donald Trump did his entire speech in the rotunda without attacking Joe Biden or attacking people, and that was commendable. And it was. I mean, it's probably the right thing to do. But Donald Trump's like, but I really got to get this other stuff out. So I'm going to go to Emancipation Hall, and I'm going to say all the stuff I wanted to say. He's like, because he's like, they told me, hey, don't bring that up. Don't bring this. Just do the speech verbatim. What's on the teleprompter, just do the speech. And he's like, all right, I'll cut you a deal. I'll do the speech. But after that speech, I'm going to go give my speech to another crowd. So that's what he's doing. Oh, so good. So good. So there's your 47th president of the United States, laying it out like only he can. Lots of exciting things coming up, man. I can't wait. Chuck Davis bringing you this part of the show. ChuckDavisLaw.com. ChuckDavisLaw.com. If you need an attorney, you need to call Chuck Davis. That's my attorney. And Chuck will get you hooked up. Whatever you got going on, he can help you out in some way or fashion. If it's outside of his purview, he's got a whole network of attorneys that he can hook you up with the best of the best. But if you're dealing in particular with divorce or custody, Chuck Davis is your guy. Wills, probate, contracts, personal injury, wrongful death, slip and fall, car wrecks, whatever, Chuck has got you. Got to call him. Call him up. Tell him I sent you. And let him get you set on track. He's going to get you the best possible result. And you need representation. I mean, that's the bottom line. Here's his phone number, 205-823-9992. That's 205-823-9992. Online, ChuckDavisLaw.com. No representation is made that the legal services provided are superior to the legal services provided by other lawyers. The number to get in, 205-545-9950. We'll be back right after this.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. I-O. Artlist I.O. Music licensing reimagined.
Got a text about you a moment ago.
Yeah.
And he said, thank you. He said, I think every time my name is mentioned on the air, a midget gains another inch in height.
Oh, jeez.
He cracks me up, man.
I love that guy.
That dude's so funny. By the way, Trump is still going, and I got to do a little catch up, but we'll hop back to him if he's going to keep on with this speech because, hey, this is Donald Trump's day, not mine. Who do we got? Hey, let's talk about VaporForge. How's that sound? VaporForge. Tell everybody how awesome VaporForge is.
VaporForge is awesome, yeah.
Yeah, baby. Open 7 days a week. 24 hours. No, not 24 hours a day. They're open 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They don't close. How many days in a row have y'all been open?
We're probably about 1,484.
It's been 1,484 days since they've closed.
Yeah, I had COVID on Christmas of 2021, I believe.
It took COVID. To close VaporForce. That's wild. He's got one Noah who works there. He lives just down the street, which is a smart move on your part. You just need to find somebody that's in walking distance in case there's bad weather. Be like, you just walk to work.
Oh, yeah,
buddy.
rain, sleet, or snow, we're there.
That's right. VaporForge out on 280 by Bailey Brothers. Y'all know exactly where that's at. Go see them. Stick your head in there and say, hey now, get your vape stuff, Delta 8 CBD. They got everything you need. Best selection, best prices, and best tax rate. They're an unincorporated Shelby County. What is that, 5% tax?
5%.
Gah, can't beat that, man. Y'all get that hooked up and get you a celebratory vape or some celebratory Delta 8 today and have a good time. You earned it. All right, back to Emancipation Hall with Donald Trump, who's still speaking and speaking in the way that only Donald Trump can.
Whenever I make a speech, I see hundreds of times, we love our First Lady, and they do, and they should. She's great. So I just want to thank you very much. I just want to thank everybody. And I felt that, I said to JD, should we give him the A treatment, the B treatment, the C, the D, or the F? You know what the F is? Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Governor. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I know that I'm just repeating myself at this point, but it's still surreal. I can't believe we finally made it after all this time. We finally made it. So up on stage, you've got Donald Trump. You've got Mike Johnson. There's Steve Scalise. J.D. Vance, obviously there. You had Donald Trump and J.D.'s wives both there. And I'm still unclear as to who this crowd is. When it came to Donald Trump's... Oh, and there's a live shot of Joe Biden's plane taking off to Delaware.
Yes.
Bye-bye, buddy.
He's gone.
Bye-bye, buddy. Bye, Joe Biden. Again, I don't know who that is, but what they had to do with this particular inauguration, because it was so dangerous to be outside, they had several different places set up for people to be there for the inauguration, but they had to watch it on a TV. And so maybe Donald Trump's just trying to spread the love around and go to those people that, were there to witness it in person and give his thanks. So anyway, here it is, man. Earnest Financial, let me tell you about them. RetireWithEarnest.com. RetireWithEarnest.com. My buddy David Earnest, who is also very excited about this day, especially being a finance guy, being a money guy. Tony Galt knows money like Earnest Financial does, and he knows how big of a deal this is, but nothing is ever safe. Doesn't matter who your president is. And what this is about is it's about your retirement and making sure your retirement is protected. What David Ernest and his team does, and they've been doing this over 40 years, is they take a floor and they put it under your retirement to make sure you don't lose money. These people that are against Donald Trump, Democrats, deep state, or whatever, if they get the opportunity to crash our economy, which, is always a possibility, they'll actually do it, and it's going to cost you money unless you make the move to call David Ernest, let him know we sent you, and get him to come up with a plan for you. It's that easy. Doesn't cost you anything. Just a little bit of time on the phone with David Ernest. 205-479-0839. Or is that your number? Did I get that right? That's not your number. Okay. 205-479-0839. RetireWithErnest.com. Again, make sure you tell him you're with the Line, part of the Line family. Tell him, hey now, and he'll get you taken care of. Hour number 3 coming up next, and as I said like 2 hours ago, I'm going to recap some other stuff. I'm actually going to do it this time, so don't go anywhere.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Twist.io.
Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, and hey now. Our number 3 of the Line Talk 99.5 on a new day. That's right, it's a new day, baby. Andrew McClain, obviously, in my Inauguration Day shirt. Yes, my Inauguration Day hoodie. Tony Gump here as well.
Yes, sir.
For those of you watching live on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, you can see him. And joining us this hour is young Diddy Peyton in the house. What's up, buddy?
Hey.
Everybody. Nobody's clapping with me.
Hey.
Yeah, Peyton had to take a nap because he was so tired. I looked and just in full transparency, I looked across the table and I saw your eyes closed. And I'm like, he looks just like Joe Biden. I got to put him to bed. So we put you in the guest room. Did you get some good rest?
Yes, I did.
You just had a long night. Couldn't get a lot of sleep. Move that mic up a little bit. Get all up in that bad boy. You've got. I like that shirt. Tell everybody what that shirt says.
Gary Asher.
That's your boy.
Yep.
He got you hooked up with some drums.
Yep.
And he gave you a lot of stuff, including that's a good looking shirt. I like that. So shout out to Gary Asher, and we want him to know that you have been practicing the drums. I could hear them from my bedroom, which I was okay with. It's not like too loud. That's why I put it on the other end of your room. Like you got your own little separate, like kind of apartment deal. But you're getting pretty good at it. You've been watching those videos and everything. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, a lot of stuff to get to. Something of concern for you that happened over the weekend. I'll get to that in a moment. Tony, would you go back and check the live stream real quick on that and make sure that is all the way muted? I feel like I hear them talking to me in my head. Maybe you can just cut that off. We don't. That may be where that noise is coming from. But anyway, Donald Trump is officially the president of the United States, and there's a lot of stuff he's going to be doing. His first trip, by the way, of as president of the United States is going to be, according to a report, Los Angeles, California. And, that's got to make some heads explode for people that are anti-Trump or that part of the world. Obviously California is no friend to Trump. And he is reaching out across the aisle and saying, whether or not you like me, whether or not you voted for me, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to support you and I'm going to do what's right. He's also going to be likely smacking some people around, including Gavin Newsom, who allowed Los Angeles to burn to the ground. That's going to be very entertaining to watch. But maybe the most entertaining thing today is going to be the abundance of executive orders that this man is going to sign. He's supposed to sign. We originally got a report that he was going to be signing 100 executive orders, and most of which were going to relate to the border. But apparently he's going to be signing around 200 executive orders. And I'm like, man, that's good. That's got to be the record. I don't know, but that has to be the largest amount of executive orders signed on day one for any president ever in history. But that's not even the fascinating part. This is the fascinating part. So Donald Trump yesterday did what they called a victory rally in the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think that's what it's called. And tons of people there, big concert, Kid Rock played. They had all this stuff going on. And he came out and spoke. Elon spoke and everything else. Apparently, from what we understand now, he's going to take a portion of those executive orders back to the Capital One Arena, where there are going to be loyal supporters in attendance, and he is going to sign some of those executive orders live to the crowd. Listen to this report right here.
Bill, good morning to you as well. The crowd's starting to fill in here at Capital One Arena, where we expect upwards of 20,000 people to be on hand here later today when President Trump arrives. And I'm told by a Trump administration official that when Trump gets here, he will be signing a handful of executive orders at this arena in front of this crowd. Take a look right over my shoulder here. You'll see they got a little desk set up for him on stage here to sign those orders. You can imagine how crazy this crowd is going to go when he makes some of those announcements. What's he going to talk about? I'm told by Trump administration officials 10 of his executive orders today will be border related, one of which very significant. He's going to announce a federal deployment of U.S. troops to the southern border under U.S. Northern Command. As for what we're expecting today, President Trump won't get here until later this afternoon. There is a massive line of people waiting to get in here. It snakes as far as the eye can see down multiple city blocks.
Oh, that's amazing. That is, could you imagine? He's going to sign executive orders live, not from the Resolute desk, not from the Oval Office, but he is going to a major arena, and he's going to sign off on these executive orders while the crowd chants, USA, USA.
Glorious.
It's a good move. I like it. It's smart, and this man is just the absolute hardest worker in politics, in political history. Nobody can beat the energy that Donald Trump has. Just like the thing yesterday that they did. He got a hero's welcome. When he showed up on stage, Lee Greenwood was doing God Bless the USA Live. He came out on stage. The place just erupted. It was like, watching Monday Night Raw and The Rock comes out, and everybody's like, oh, my God, it's Donald Trump. It's just, it's so cool to watch. And he goes through, he talks about a lot of things, but in particular, he was talking about the executive orders. And he said he had people around him saying, sir, don't sign all those executive orders on one day, like kind of space it out or whatever. And he's like, nah, I don't think I'm going to do that. Here's what Trump said at the rally.
Take the oath of office. Oh, you're going to have a lot of fun watching television tomorrow. Somebody said yesterday, sir, don't sign so many in one day. Let's do it over a period of weeks. I said, like hell, we're going to do it over weeks. We're going to sign them at the You know that old story. Let's do it later. Then it never gets done. No, we're doing them tomorrow. And we'll have plenty to sign in the future. Don't worry about it. It's not going to stop. But we're going to stop the destructive and divisive diversity.
Did you notice, like, as he's speaking, the crowd is so loud, the camera's shaking because it's so loud in that arena. He was having a blast, man. He was genuinely having fun. But maybe the best part of the entire rally was at the end. They always play YMCA at the end by the Village People.
Yeah.
The Village People were there and played the YMCA live. And I want you to, for those of you watching, I know some of y'all are on radio, But for those of you watching this online, I want you to just watch Trump and look how much fun he is having with the freaking Village people on stage. He is loving it.
I wonder when the last time those guys got together to sing this was.
Well, they actually did a look at the crowd. The crowd's loving it. They did a live performance at the crypto ball that they did, or something like that.
Was it?
Just look at Trump's face. Oh, he's loving that so much. That may be the highlight of his political career right there.
Wow.
Hey, loving it, man. The Village people in the house. You can't beat that, man. And how old is the Village people? How old are those band members at this point?
I don't know, but I'm actually surprised they're all still alive.
Are they?
It's been a long time.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, all of those guys are old. So if you did have to replace any of them, you didn't think to go with somebody younger. Because they're all super old.
Well, they mostly look fit and stuff, but they're from the 70s or whatever, that song, right?
Yeah, I think 70-something, maybe 80-something. I don't know. Good stuff, man. More to get to. I need to talk about this TikTok stuff. That's why I brought Young Diddy in. We'll talk about that in a moment. Mandu bringing you this part of the show, talking about being fit, baby. That's where you make it happen. It's not too late to get your New Year's resolution in. It's not. It's still January. Why not go ahead and get on top of that? Go to Mandu, get that 15-minute workout. You can try it for free by going to the website. If you go to MANDUU.com, click that button that says claim your free session. You pick a day, pick a time, you show up. Your personal trainer's there waiting on you, and you're in like Flynn, baby. It's easy peasy. So if you got questions, call them up, 205-438-6003. You know I'm dedicated to Mandu. I do it 3 times a week. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's done wonders for me. It can do the same for you. Whether you're 18 years old or 80 years old or 90 years old, doesn't matter. They can get you hooked up, man. 205-438-6003, online, mandu.com. Back after this.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io.
Trump in the president's room signing the official papers to be president, and the press, or at least a handful of the press, is in there, and he seems to be taking questions from them. Well, actually, they're leading them out. They were just asking about the interaction with Joe Biden and things of that nature. So what I found funny about this, and y'all can see it on the screen here, he sits at that desk and he signs the papers. And once he gets done, he starts shaking everybody's hand. And who's there? Steve Scalise, Mike Johnson, Hakeem Jeffries is there. He hands Hakeem Jeffries the pen that he signed with, and he said, "Here, you take that."
Timu Obama.
Yeah, Timu Obama got the pen. Donald Trump signing the papers to officially become president. So there's that. Good stuff, man. Can't beat it. Between singing the YMCA and dancing with the village people to everything else, man, it's just been a wild. It's been a wild weekend because this was Saturday night. We got word. Well, we knew that Sunday TikTok was going to get banned, and from my understanding, it was going to be not that TikTok was banned, but it was taken out of the App Store. But about 9:30, I think this was about 9:30 Saturday night, Central Time, you went on TikTok and it gave you that message and it said TikTok is currently banned in the U.S. You didn't know it at the time. I found out, surprisingly enough, I found out before you did, and I sent you a message, and you just sent me like several no's. You just said no. And what was your first thought when TikTok was banned?
Oh, well, I was scrolling when it happened.
Yeah.
And
Then it just stopped.
Yeah.
It
was kind of weird.
You were with your boys, and what did everybody say? Did y'all start screaming?
Nah, I didn't think I was going to miss an app. But once it got banned, I was like, dang.
Well, there was all these TikToks being put together of little short clips of other TikToks, like a montage that was put together, and it'd have like Green Day, Time of Your Life playing in the background, like something really sad.
Yeah.
And I listen, I get it, because for people like Peyton, people his age, and really even some adults, but especially for people in his age group, like they kind of grew up with TikTok. It's like part of their childhood. Whether you think it's good or bad for people is irrelevant. It is, in fact, a part of a lot of people's lives. It's a big part for some people that make their living off TikTok, but just your average person that scrolls through and gets that little bit of enjoyment, it just got ripped out from under you.
Yeah.
And it was like, oof. So Donald Trump then sends out a tweet, a Truth Social, and he demands TikTok get back up and operational, and that he's going to give him a 90-day window. After he's inaugurated, he says, I'm going to give you 90 days to figure out what to do in order to stay operating. Yesterday, while he was at this victory rally, he talks about TikTok. Now, keep in mind, this rally is after TikTok goes back online after being cut off. They went back online, and their message said, we thank President Trump, or incoming President Trump, for the clarification that he's going to give us an extension. So we're going to go ahead, really in defiance of the law. They went ahead and went back online because they knew that nobody was going to be able to come after them in the course of 24 hours before Donald Trump's inaugurated. But here's what he says at that rally yesterday.
And as of today, TikTok is back. So, you know, I did a little TikTok thing. We have a guy, TikTok Jack. He's a young kid, like 21 years old. And we hired this guy, and I went on TikTok. Can you believe what I'll do to win an election? And we went on TikTok, and Republicans have never won the young vote, the youth vote. They win a lot of votes, but they never won the youth vote. We won the youth vote by 36 points. So I like TikTok. I like it. I like it,
he says. I like TikTok. He says the youth vote. Do you find people your age, and especially older, maybe people that are about to vote that are voting, that most of them are Trump supporters?
Yeah, and that TikTok account had a lot to do with it.
Donald Trump's TikTok account?
Yeah, I think we talked about it before, but like when it first got created some of the songs he was doing, and just the way it was put together, we were all like, whoa, dude, that's so cool.
It's just, I mean, we've talked about it on the show 100 times, the brilliance of that campaign and the things they did that were just so smart to be able to grab the attention of people and essentially say to people, hey, it's cool to like Donald Trump again. I think that's ultimately what happened.
Yeah.
It became cool to be a Trump supporter, or at least be cool with Donald Trump. You see Snoop Dogg at that crypto party. You had Rick Ross performing. You had Soulja Boy. All these people that I think Nelly was there too, and so. You had all these people that had, some of which had spoken out very harshly against Trump like 8 years ago, and now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, Trump. Because, why? Because it affects their bottom line. If it's cool to like Trump again, and you're an artist, and you're making money from being an artist, you can't like go and bash Trump and expect to continue to be successful. Donald Trump says about TikTok, I would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position when it comes to TikTok. He says, or TikTok then thanks President Trump and plans to reinstate U.S. access, which they did, yeah. But you told me that TikTok is not available on the App Store at the moment. Is that right?
That's what I've heard.
Let me look
you can
real
go
quick.
look, yeah.
All right, so if it's not on the App Store, TikTok, no, it's not. It's not on the App Store. It's not available. So if you don't have TikTok, you can't download it, but you can still use it if you already have it.
Yep.
And that comes in the form of, that's not a TikTok thing, that's an App Store thing. You know, Google Play and the iPhone, the Apple App Store, they likely decided, hey, this is the law. We don't want to get on the wrong side of the law, so we're not going to carry it. And then TikTok's like, hey, Daddy Trump says he's got our back, so we're just going to keep rolling with it. I mean, you've got, and they call them small business owners, but influencers that make money off TikTok, I mean, many of those people have made that their career. Like, that's their only job. And if there's no TikTok, you're essentially going to end up going to McDonald's and having a bunch of people in the back doing TikTok dances because, you know, like, what are they going to do? They don't know how to work.
Yeah.
Do you imagine walking into McDonald's and everybody's got their phones out? They're like dancing and stuff.
Kind of reminds you of COVID back in the day with the
right,
nurses.
it's like the nurses dancing. It's like, hey, I just want to order my food.
It's like,
Would you
get to
quit
work.
dancing? Get to work, man. Come on, go. Anyway, the old TikTok thing's crazy. People were losing their minds. There were several hundred 911 calls across the country after TikTok went down from people that were having a plethora of issues, mental health crises, parents calling because their children were melting down because there was no longer TikTok. I'm like, okay, I get it if you're making money off TikTok, but if you're just an average TikTok user, can't you just use Instagram Reels?
Yeah.
Isn't it better anyway?
It's funnier.
I think TikTok has seemed to have become like this giant advertisement. Like, I'm just constantly seeing products shoved in your face in the TikTok shop and everything else. I think that needs to be their number one priority. Like, get back to what people downloaded it for and put up content. Yes, you got to make money if you're TikTok. Put an ad every now and then. But sometimes you'll get on there and it'll be like every single TikTok is an ad. And it's like, I don't care.
It's like it goes regular video, ad, live video. And
Yeah.
cycle repeats.
Yeah, it's crazy. Which, you know, some people are average people that are advertising products because they can make money off of it that way. And yada, yada, yada. There was one story. There was a Wisconsin teenager that set fire to a congressman's office over the TikTok ban. So he voted for the TikTok ban or whatever. And so this dude went out and tried to set the congressional office on fire of this Wisconsin lawmaker. And I'm like, dude, you got to get checked out because you got issues. If it drove you to that, you've got some serious issues. You got to chill. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that these people aren't corrupt. If you take who's the one Republican? Is it McCall? Is it Mike McCall? He's a Republican that drafted the TikTok ban bill in the first place. Everybody needs to understand how this works. So he drafts a bill to ban TikTok, And then just a couple weeks later, and over the ensuing 3 weeks after that, he invests $450,000 into Meta. He drafts a bill to ban TikTok and then puts a bunch of money in the stock market for Facebook. Obviously, if TikTok goes down, Facebook's value goes up, and he makes money. Then, just a few weeks later, in 3 different deposits, he invests another $750,000 in Meta, and then after that, signs the bill for the TikTok ban last year. So, he like $1.2 million he put into Meta while actively trying to ban TikTok. And that's why I'm like, this can't be about national security. It just doesn't seem that way.
They should be arrested for insider trading. It's so obvious.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Hey, Noto Roofing real quick. NOTOroofing.com, NOTOroofing.com. If it wasn't for Noto, I wouldn't be wearing this fancy inauguration hoodie. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, buddy. Get that free roof inspection. 205-848-2299. 848-2299. All that information online, NOTOroofing.com. NOTOroofing.com. Free roof inspection. Tell them I sent you. You're part of the Line family. They'll take care of you. Quick break. Coming back right after this. Y'all hang tight.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
All right, here we go. I think I got E on the line. Bless E's heart, because that guy's been trying to get through for a long time, and he just wanted to make some comments on this great and wonderful day. E, what's up, buddy?
Hey, sexy, how are ya?
Hey, hey now.
Hey, Tony, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, E. How about yourself, sir?
Man, I'm saying sexy like always. You know it. Like Damien says, if I say sexy, I don't have to get sexy, right?
That's right. That's
oh
right.
wait, that's a different line, right?
It's close. It's close enough.
Close enough. Yeah. You know, dude, like Trump. Oh my God. The more I listen to this man, and I'm actually focused, the more I love him. Like the speech that he delivered, he didn't have to insult any. It's just facts. All the other stuff that people have been saying before, it was all BS because they had to lie about him. This dude just literally lays out the facts. He doesn't have to lie, and everything is true and makes him look golden. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right, and that's the advantage he has. Is, I mean, all the facts are on his side, so it's easy to just put it out there and everybody can see it for what it is.
It's a beautiful thing, man. This day could have not came fast enough, and I am so happy and proud. And yeah, thank you for putting on the show and making everything awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Love you long time, buddy.
Love you long time. Thanks, E. Appreciate you, buddy. That's another reason we brought Young Nitty here to the show, because it was such a historic day. Kind of wanted him to be a part of it, I mean, I hope everybody, especially since this fell on MLK Day and everybody was out of school, I hope a lot of people were able to kind of snatch their kid up and watch this with them, because this is history being made. This is a bigger moment than anything I can remember in recent history.
Yeah, I agree. And with it being on MLK Day, that's just the cherry on top. That's beautiful.
It is, because guess what? We had a dream, baby. We had a dream that Donald Trump was going to get back in the White House and Andrew was going to cut his hair, and that dream is coming true. That's right. Hey, Underdog Fantasy Sports, bringing you this portion of the show. Underdog Fantasy. I played Underdog last night with the which game was it? What was the game last night? Hold on, I'll just look at my Underdog app and I will tell you. Oh, it was the Buffalo and the Bills and the Ravens last night. I put together a team of eight. Listen to me, 8 people, and I won. I won real money, and you can do the same thing. You can win up to 1,000 times your money. All you got to do is go download the Underdog Fantasy app. Go download it. It's in your app store. Sign up. It's very easy. When you do, use the promo code HeyNow. All one word, HEYNOW. Use that promo code HeyNow, and you're going to get, first of all, to start, a free pick, and then you're going to get a 50% match on your first deposit, just because you used my promo code, HeyNow, all one word. So get on top of that, or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. You can play there as well. And again, I'm not lying to you. You can win real money by playing Underdog. Must be 19 or older, and in Alabama and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Underdog Fantasy Sports. Donald Trump going back to the victory rally in Washington, D.C. He started laying out, and this just goes back to the importance of what he's talking about. We're going to get on track. Talks about the Department of Education. And this is the beauty of the whole thing. Donald Trump has made some pretty grand promises on the campaign trail, and most politicians that would win the presidency after making big, bold promises are not going to talk about them on Inauguration Day or really any time after they've won the presidency, because they never had any intention of doing it. But here is Donald Trump yesterday, one day before he's inaugurated, 47th president of the United States, sticking to exactly what he said.
Woman Linda McMahon is going to be our future Secretary of Education, which we're going to be giving back to the states. Let the state run education. I said to Linda, Linda, I'm making you the Secretary of Education, but if you do a great job, you will put yourself out of a job because you're going to be sending it back to the states. And she's fantastic, and her staff, which has been largely hired, is fantastic. And all of the other leaders will come to me and they're going to say, do you remember I used to do this for woman?
So he is sticking to this promise of eliminating the Department of Education and sending it back to the states, which is huge for people like Baden, for people that are young. You have kids that are in grade school. This is huge for your kid, especially if your child is in a failing school. If your child is in a failing school, you will have the opportunity to move your kid to a different school. And you'll see the Alabama laws change. You'll see many things happen. But finally, it is going to be in the hands of the parents. And it has never been like that. You've just been doomed to go to a school that well, this is where you live, so this is what school you need to go to. Now you're going to be able to go to any school you want to without being burdened by, truancy officer showing up and be like, well, you don't live within the district, so you got to go to this school. We've got personal experience with that. We have dealt with that firsthand, and now those things are changing. The priority can now be on the child. But maybe my favorite part of what he said yesterday was that he, again, sticking to promises, that he is going to declassify the JFK, the RFK, and the MLK files. Y'all, this is huge. This is what we're ready for. This is it. Watch.
As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam.
Oh, my God. This is crazy. Can you believe?
I can't wait.
Can you believe that this is actually happening? And I think he will, and he's going to get pushed back. They're going to fight him tooth and nail on that, but I truly believe he's going to do whatever he can to do it. I think Kash Patel, if we can get him confirmed, I firmly believe that they will do it. And that's why these people are running scared. That's why there's so much of a freak out over Donald Trump taking over the office and Joe Biden leaving. Joe Biden was their safe space. But nobody cares about that. If you go look, Joe Biden did his final interview with MSNBC's, who was it, Tony? Lawrence O'Donnell.
Right.
He did his final interview with Lawrence O'Donnell last week. I guess it was last Thursday. The ratings came out, and that final interview for Joe Biden, who got 81 million votes in 2020, got beaten by reruns of Seinfeld and Family Guy.
Nice.
More people watch. And think about this. Seinfeld and Family Guy, you can stream on pretty much any service, but he got beat by reruns of people watching it on TV. That's pretty pathetic. And hey, listen, maybe that's why he went on MSNBC, because he wanted nobody to watch it, and he knew, hey, if I'm on MSNBC, nobody's gonna see how bad of shape I'm in. He then, on his way out, and this happened again, we mentioned it happened this morning. He issues in his final act as president of the United States pardons for Anthony Fauci, pardons for loser Mark Milley, the entire January 6th Select Committee, and many others that hate America and have been in the business of destroying this country. If you go back to the 2020 campaign, Joe Biden on stage with Kamala Harris actually was asked about this question. They said, and it's always about Donald Trump, Donald Trump says that he's going to preemptively pardon some of his buddies. What do you think about that? Is that something you would do?
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Well, so much for that.
Oh, man.
He's like, no, we're not going to preemptively pardon people. There's no way. We would never do such a thing. Pencil neck Adam Schiff gets a pardon as well. I don't know if y'all know this, but in 2020, Adam Schiff said as well, and this was when Donald Trump was considering pardoning Michael Flynn. Adam Schiff gets on TV and says that cover up for Trump and lie for him, and he will protect you, saying that Trump is bad for pardoning his friends. Yet here's pencil neck Adam Schiff being the recipient of the exact same thing. Listen.
As you know well, Michael Flynn pleaded guilty, then tried to withdraw those guilty pleas. He cooperated with the Mueller investigation, then uncooperated. Now CNN's reporting is the president is considering pardoning him, and soon. What message would that send?
Well, it would send a message that, at least as far as President Trump is concerned, if you lie on his behalf, if you cover up for him, he will reward you. He will protect you, but only if he thinks it's in his interest. There are others that lied for him that he's not going to extend that kind of service to. But it just, frankly, reflects so ill on our democracy, on the United States. I imagine what people around the world think when we have a president who's acting like an organized crime figure. But this is who Donald Trump is. It's who he was on the way into the presidency. It will be exactly who he is on his last days of the presidency.
As you know, it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel at the end of the day. Like, anytime they do something, you can always go back and find a clip of them saying the exact opposite. I'm not exaggerating, every single time that's the case. Every single time. But hey, who am I? I'm just a goofy radio
Life
show
is
host.
so much easier when you got the truth on your side, you know?
That's it. Alabama Men's Clinic coming at you. AlabamaMen'sClinic.com. AlabamaMen'sClinic.com. Even though my 14-year-old's here, I'm going to have to talk to you about ED. I know that's a little awkward, but it's just a reality. As men get older, you get problems. You notice you're not... you don't have as much energy. You're not able to do the things that you want to do. You're dragging when you go to work. This all could be signs of low T, and that is a very solvable problem. All you have to do is make the commitment to get up and go to Alabama Men's Clinic. You just got to make the appointment and show up. That's all we're asking you to do. This is going to make your life so much easier, so much better, and everybody around you is going to be happy. Everybody's going to benefit from this, including your family, because you're going to be the best version of yourself because you went and got this taken care of. You get an appointment, sign up for an appointment. They'll run the labs. They'll give you the consultation and get you set on track. Here's their phone number, 205-598-7000. That's 205-598-7000, online, AlabamaMen'sClinic.com. Quick break, coming back on the other side. Y'all hang tight.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
I was looking at an article earlier today showing the 25 shocking photos that expose the true disaster of Joe Biden's presidency. And it reminded me of really, and I've said this several times today, but it really reminded me of how much we've actually been through. I think about Joe Biden taking office, and in their photo of them in their cabinet, and this may have been in the rotunda. This was at the Capitol. They were all sitting in chairs, and they were all like socially distanced. You remember when the George Floyd thing happened, and which that was after. That was before the election, but them kneeling at the Capitol.
Oh, yeah, kneeling 6 feet apart.
And weird thing, just all the mask and everything else. Gas prices in some part of the country getting almost up to $8 a gallon. You had the pictures of the migrant invasion, Joe Biden falling upstairs. You had the Afghan withdrawal. Like, you go back and you think about this stuff, and it's like, man, we have been through a lot. And how did it all end? It all came crumbling down right at the very end. In the last days, it all came crumbling down, and it resulted in all kinds of infighting, especially between Joe Biden, who did not want to drop out of the race, and Nancy Pelosi. Really, the two biggest powers in the Democrat Party at that time were at each other's throats. And some people can dismiss it and say, well, that's just reports and rumors and everything else. No, that is very, very real. Those two entities, those two people, those two families, they hate each other. There was Nancy Pelosi's daughter was in an article just the other day talking about that Jill Biden should put her big girl pants on and think about her husband's legacy instead of taking shots at them. Let's see if I can find it. She said in an interview with Politico, Alexandra Pelosi, the daughter of former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, did not mince her words when discussing the Biden family. She said, quote, "If I was Lady McBiden, I'd put my big girl pants on, play the long game, and think about my husband's legacy."
Damn,
Ow! That's good. That's good. Oh, that's good stuff. But
the new era is here.
And really, at the end of the day, it was probably just Jill and not Joe, because he doesn't have a clue what's going on. It's just like with these pardons. You know, he did Fauci and Adam Schiff and Liz Cheney and all that this morning. But then this was the kicker. This was the most shocking part of all. Just hours before inauguration, just moments really before we came on air, we saw this come across the wire. In Joe Biden's very last act as president of the United States, he sends out this pardon. It says, "To all to whom these presents shall come," I can't read it, greeting, "be it known that this day I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, pursuant to my powers under Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution, have granted unto, and it lists 4 people, a full and unconditional pardon. Who are these 4 people? It's James Biden, Sarah Biden, Valerie Biden Owens, John T. Owens, and Francis W. Biden.
Well, it's 5 people.
Well, that's 5 people. I can't count. So 5 members of the Biden family who are incredibly corrupt and were incredibly involved with all the corruption in the Biden family had just got a pardon. If you could go back to that, or let's see if I've got it here. Let me pull that up. I want to read the rest of it because this is the most important part. At the end, it says, after he lists the name, for any nonviolent offenses against the United States which they may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1st, 2014 through the date of this pardon. So it wasn't a pardon for active charges. It wasn't a pardon for maybe charges that are going to be coming up soon, like in the next couple days that are already on the table. It was a pardon for anything that they have done over the past 10 years, just like he did with Hunter Biden. He pardons Hunter Biden for a 10-year span, and now has done the same thing for 5 other family members who are absolutely implicated in all of this. Crazy.
That whole family is like a mafia family or something.
Well, speaking of a legacy, that's your legacy now. That was the last thing you did going out the door. And Joe Biden probably didn't even know. He didn't even know. It was probably James Biden who said, hey, I'm going to write this down. Let me make sure you sign this. Listen to this story from Mike Johnson. This came out over the weekend, and he was talking about when he was trying to meet with Joe Biden, they wouldn't let him. And when he finally did, he was shocked to see the state that Joe Biden was in.
I do stand by it, and I say this without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously, has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story when you say personal observation? What
well,
kind of
I
thing
mean,
did you see?
it's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked, I became Speaker in October 2023, and there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on, and I started requesting a meeting with the President because, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. The Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the President, especially in times of great national interest and calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him, and his staff kept giving me excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. We had, I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill Press Corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the Speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the Speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably 3rd week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the Speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard, and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the.
So imagine his shock because he's telling Joe Biden, hey, I know what you've done. And Joe Biden's like, no, I didn't do that. He ain't got a clue. He's been completely lost. Completely lost. But that nightmare is over. That's the good news. APS, real quick, Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717. Call them up. Get them to spray for bugs. They've been with us for a very long time. They service my house and can do the same thing for you. Call them up. Let them know we sent you. 951-9717. Online, AlabamaProfessional.com. What a day it's been. Tony Gump, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
For all
it's
you
been a
do.
pleasure, yeah.
Young P, Young Diddy, thank you for coming out and hanging out on this historic day, buddy. And thank you, the audience. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode. And until next time, see you, cuz!
Artlist.io